Gormagus, Chair, and apologies for being late. Thanks very much for the presentation and for the opening statement, which I've read. And I think it was important that when reviewing this tax, it was long overdue, a proposed change, but that the principles of fairness and limiting increases or trying to achieve no increases for homeowners was really important. I do think, though, to address the fairness, it was important that the new homes that had been exempted are brought in, because that was a significant point of concern. I just want to ask you, the widening of the bands and the reviewing of the rates every 4 years, the objective there, as I understand it, is to create more certainty for homeowners and to create greater harmony. But if you can confirm that, I would appreciate it. I also note that you're proposing to increase the income levels for people who qualify to defer the local property tax. And I think that is important. Most people don't want to have to defer a debt, but some people, from a financial perspective, genuinely can't. And so the increase in those income levels is very welcome. But one of the questions, I suppose, that has been asked regularly is how or why is there not a greater emphasis given to the actual income in each household? And if you can just talk to that and the rationale behind it, that would be very helpful. And thank you for attending today.
I'm not sure if I think Anne-Marie might have dropped out of the meeting, unfortunately. I might try and answer your questions as best I can, Senator, and I might give Anne-Marie an opportunity to come back in. But on the widening of the, well, yeah, as you said, the bands have been widened by 75%, which is calibrated to it sort of matches the average property price increase until from 1st of May 2013, the current valuation period, up to the current day. So as I was saying to Deputy McAuliffe, that 75% is an average for the country as a whole. And the closer someone's property is to that average, the less likely they are to see an increase or a decrease in their property tax bill. But obviously that 75% is an average, and there will be lots of properties close to the average, but there will likewise be a lot of properties that are not particularly close to the average. That's just the nature of the very varied property stock that we have across the country. Yeah, I think it's probably a very welcome thing for everyone, revenue and property owners, that the valuation period is coming back to a 4-year period. So when property tax was initially introduced, I think, I'm open to correction on this, I think the initial idea was to have a 3-year or a 4-year valuation period, but that valuation period has been extended a couple of times, and we're now in a situation where properties have been valued at the 1st of May 2013 values for the last 8 years. And I think, unfortunately, that obviously does create a number of different inequalities and challenges within the system. Two very obvious ones. One is the properties that were outside of the property net as long as the current valuation period existed, and obviously they'll be coming in the new valuation period. The other is the fact that, and I think I was discussing this with Deputy Stevens earlier, that the other thing that has changed, obviously, is a lot of people have added to their house or have amended their house, put extensions on their house in various different ways over the current valuation period. And the longer that valuation period is, the more of those kind of extensions and enhancements you're going to get on a house. And again, until there's a revaluation, you don't get to incorporate them in the valuation. So as the example that was given earlier on, is you could have two houses side by side, and they were the same house in 2013, but one's put a big massive extension and gold-plated taps and everything else on it since then, but those two people are still paying the same property price. So the 4-year period has a lot of benefits in terms of fairness. The second question you were asking was around the deferral, the income thresholds for deferral. I don't know a huge amount about this area, to be honest, but as Anne-Marie has mentioned, the legislation will bring forward an increase in the thresholds for that. I think to 18,000 for an individual, and was 35 or 36,000 for a couple. So that there is obviously trying to make allowance, and those increases are based on analysis of changes in incomes, and particularly people changes in incomes at the lower end of the income distribution over the last period since since the threshold was reduced the first time around.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Mr.
that.
Walsh.
Can I just ask?
You're heading over time there now, Senator Fitzpatrick. So
Apologies, Chair. Apologies.
go on. I'll give you another minute, and then I'm going to Senator Cummins.
Just two quick questions, Keith. The changes that will come in, obviously this has to be legislated for. So is it anticipated by the Department of Finance that the changes will come in 2023? And the second question is I'm presuming those increases in the deferral income thresholds are being benchmarked against social welfare income payments, are they?
I think so for your second question, but I'm not familiar with the details of it, so I don't want to mislead you. On your first question, these changes are going to come in for 2022 onwards. So we'll be asking people to make a return, put a value on their property on the 1st of November 2021. That will then be the LPT valuation date for the next period, which will be 2022, 23, 24, and 25.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Walsh. I'm going to